Aloha, it's creative name to stand out. I haven't posted in a very long time because my wife and I have been moving around to a couple of states and we finally settled in here in Hawaii. Um, I was worried coming out to Hawaii I wasn't going to find very many people to play, but it looks like they do have a consistent group out here. My past experiences where I was playing in Tennessee and in Monterey, California, it was actually kind of hard to find people who played fantasy. So my prospects to find a group in Hawaii, I think I started out low, but now I feel confident I'll get the regular games in, and with that, regular videos. So here's my first game. I went up to the store, I talked to some people, and we set up a game with a Skaven and my Dark Elves at 2,500 points. So here is my list. We played Dawn Attacks, everything gets set up randomly, didn't have a lot of control, and we were only playing with Mysterious Forests. Everything else I think were mundane hills. So here we go. So that first photo was a picture of my Hydra broken. It made it to Hawaii in really good condition. Nothing was wrong with it. And then I get it here and it breaks, so it figures. So here's deployment. There's my Hydra over there on the other side of the forest. The forest is a poison forest. I deployed my large unit of spearmen in there. I have a level 2 shadow with them. In the center I have my executioners with the death hag. She has the always strikes first banner, and then I have a banner in there, the flaming banner. And then on the hill are 10 crossbowmen, and then I have the unit of spearmen with a level 4 metal mage. Next to them I have altar of Cain, in front of which I have the witches, and then in the corner there you can see my harpies. Finally, I have another unit of 10 crossbowmen on the other side of a forest that I think ended up being a mundane forest. I don't remember having a special rule. So this is my deployment. As far as special equipment is concerned, my level 4 has a sacrificial dagger, and my level 2 has the Grand dispel item and a dispel scroll. So there you go. Here's an overview of the board. This game player hasn't set up everything, but that's pretty much what it's going to look like. Behind his arm is a doom wheel. Then next to that's 25 slaves. Then an abomination, in front of which are two units of rat ogres. Behind them are the elite Skaven with halberds, with a bell, and a level 4 wizard. Further down the line are two units of clan rats. One has a BSB, one has nothing in it. Then slaves, then a warp gun, and then at the far is a doom wheel. Next to doom wheel is another unit of clan rats with a wizard, and then two giant rat packs. He also had a warp fire thrower, but I couldn't see in the picture. I think it was over there by the elite Skaven. So after setup, I set up my scouts and I placed them right in front of my executioners. He rolls to steal the initiative and succeeds. So here he is taking his first movements. Here is his right side after movements. And here is his left side after movements. He moves the two round rotors in a vertical column formation. I'm not sure why, but maybe he wants me to charge him and then run into his other ogres. I took this picture because when he rolled movement, he rolled a 1, 1, and 2. He told me that he came really close to hurting his own abomination. I don't know the rules very well for that, but I was surprised. It was really slow. And there's the rattling gun, or the warp fire thrower. So this is what it looks like after movement. In the magic phase, he attempted to cast the Dreaded 13th. He came short, so his level 4 was going to cast him more, and I don't think his level 2 had spells that were in range. So as you can see, his right flank is trying to move in closer to my army, and everything else is advancing. It looks like maybe he was making room for his abomination to move straight ahead, and that's why his rat ogres moved into vertical formation. But unfortunately, he rolled a 3. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm gonna, rush onto his left flank and try to deal with his most threatening units before his right flank comes in and overwhelms me. We go into his shooting phase, and he rolls for this gun a 1, 1, and 5. It looks like, and then I think I make my regen save, and this pretty much sums up this round shooting. He really didn't do much. His warp gun fired and then dissipated when he rolled a misfire. Now we go to my turn 1. Here's my spells. I got Final Transmutation. Well, you can read them. So this is the spells I got for my metal. And here are the spells I got for my level 2 shadow. Bit of Shades and Miasma. Good stuff. Every time I face Skaven, I'm stuck with the dilemma of do I quickly try to engage at the risk of being overwhelmed, or do I try to stay back and deal with threats piecemeal? And the problem with the piecemeal approach is that so many times I've tried to do that, I get shot to bits or the spells just devastate me. So um, I pretty much commit to my aggressive, destroy the flank as quickly as possible before the right flank overwhelms me. So I declare a charge with my witches who need boxcars, and I declare a charge with my Hydra who needs a 9, and I fail both of them. So there's that, and then there's movement with my scouts to shoot. I really want to move with my spearmen, but because it's a poison forest, if I move, I have to take dangerous terrain tests for everything. So I'm really hesitant to move them. I figure I'm going to leave them I'm going to keep them put until I just really need to get them in a position. So going into Magic, I don't remember a lot of important things going on besides me casting Final Transmutation at the Bell unit, and I kill a third of the unit to weaken them, and I don't get the Bell or the Warseer. So that's how I started off. When I go to shoot the Shades, for whatever reason, I think I had miasma on the Shades, but my opponent successfully dispels that spell, so I go and shoot the Bell unit, and I think I kill. I try to kill the Lord, but I fail at even wounding anything. The crossbows that are on the hill shoot at this unit, and I kill 2 guys. And finally, I shoot at the Doom Wheel, but I'm shooting through a forest, and the thing is toughness 6, so surprise, surprise, no damage. So at the end of my turn, the board looks like this, and my opponent starts his turn with a couple of charges. The front Rat Ogres, who I thought I had miasma on, declares a charge against my Shades, who they elect to flee, and they flee through the Witches and the Harpies, and the Harpies fail their break test. And then he passes his break test to redirect, and he redirects into my Executioners. And here's a picture of that charge where he charged into my Executioners. Don't think this is a good idea, and you'll see why. I mean, even at the time, though, before the result happened, my Executioners do a ton of damage, and 2 Rat Ogres are not going to even strike. But I don't think my opponent knew that. And then the unit I charged with my Witches and failed, then declare a charge on me, needing a 9, and they fail. Here's a picture of my Harpies fleeing. They rolled really low. I think they also ran at like 3 inches or something. After his charges, he goes to move. He brings on these Skaven ninja guys. I don't know what they are. And then he moves the rest of his forces up. My opponent was under the impression that since my witches are frenzied, that they were forced to charge the closest unit, which is sort of true. They can take a leadership test to see if they can resist that and then charge whatever they want. The rest of his army moves forward as like so, and I guess something to pay attention right now is that his slaves have moved into a position behind the Rat Ogre Executioner's combat, and the abominations behind that. Finally, the Doom Wheel moves forward to engage my Hydra, but comes just a little short from making the charge. During the magic phase, my opponent casts Death Frenzy on the Rat Ogres. I let it go because I am 100% confident, unless something freaky happens, that they won't even get to strike. And with that, I thought I made a really good decision also. I'd have some dice left over to stop an Uber spell. So he goes to cast the 13th at my Witches, and he kills a bunch because he rolls Irresistible Force. And I think he took like 1 wound. In the shooting phase, he shoots with his Doom Wheel first. He kills 3 of my crossbowmen. They get scared, they break. They won't be rallying anytime soon. The poisoned ninja star rats throw a bunch of stars at my altar cane, and they're perfect for it. They kill off 2 of my attendants. All I have left is the death hag. That's all I need for right now, though. Oh man, this picture is important for 2 reasons. One, it finishes off the shooting phase. The Doom Wheel shoots at my Hydra. If the weapon strength is 2, so he doesn't do any wounds to me. But then the flamethrower, the Warpfire weapons team moves up, and he shoots the flame at it, and it does 2 wounds. But this also shows the results of my combat with those Rat Ogres, As predicted, my executioners bring up their little swords and they chop off those ogres' heads. And then in my mind, I'm thinking they're frenzy. It's the first round of combat. They have to rush forward, and I do that. But it turns out, now that I'm reading through the book just when I got home, that they can only do that if they charge, not if they get charged. I don't think it would have mattered just to be defensive for a second, because after I killed them, I was only 5 inches away from the next unit, and it was about to be my turn. But I need to remember that because I don't want to cheat. All right. I start out my second turn by declaring charge with my severely weakened witches. I try to charge his BSB unit, but I failed that leadership test, and so I'm forced to charge those slaves. And then in the move phase, I mess up again, and I don't know if watching videos, I mean, it's good that I watch the videos, but it makes me, just irks me how I do things I'm clearly not allowed to do. I reform the crossbowmen, who don't even have a musician, and go to shoot the Skaven ninja guys to save my Alter Arcane. But luckily, again, it's a moot point because I don't even do a wound. But I don't know. I gotta watch these things. My Shades rally, and surprisingly enough, my Harpies rally. And then in the first combat, I choose to do the Witches first. I kill about almost, it looks like half the slave unit, but my Witches are wearing no armor, so now I'm down to the command unit only. And in the other combat with slaves, I kill them, they explode, and then I overrun correctly this time, since they're frenzy, into the abomination. Luckily, I have the flame banner, so hopefully I can make some short work of this thing. In the final combat of my turn, the Hydra did 3 wounds to the Doom Wheel. The Doom Wheel broke and fled, but I couldn't catch it. So going into turn 3 of the Skaven turn, my opponent declares some charges, and something happens that gets me a little bit worried. The Rat Ogres, who were originally blocking the spell unit from making this charge that you see here, charged my crossbowmen. I think they needed a 10 to get out of the way, and they got it. And then it was just an easy charge for the bell in the back of my unit. Now that my unit is, of course, obviously the best unit close combat wise in my army, but to be facing an abomination in the front and then the bell and the elite Skaven in the back, I don't know. I felt like this was the game. If I was either going to get lucky or lose big. Meanwhile, my opponent's Doom Wheel rolls a 3 to rally, and since it's a compulsive movement, he immediately moved it, and it ran into my Hydra. Other movements included the other Doom Wheel moving forward towards my just rallied Shades and Harpies. And since my Witches were no longer a threat, my opponent just moved his other units past the combat that was still going on. Here is a look at the board before we go into my opponent's shooting. You can see the Rat Ogres made that charge into the back of my crossbowmen, and you know that combat really is probably going to decide the game. It looks like. Okay, to start the shooting, the Doom Wheel moves over like already. It already moved over, and it's shooting my Shades. Luckily, it only kills 1. My Hydra gets blown apart by the lightning gun on the Doom Wheel. And then this is a ridiculously strong gun. I mean, I know Skaven has things that blow up all the time, but man, this thing wrecked my world. He moved it up in front of the abomination and just killed more than half of my spear unit. Flaming my poor dark elves in the forest. I think there's killing 30 of them. We go into combat. We start off up there in the top with the witches. My witches go in, they kill a handful of rats. And then the rats, because they have numbers over me, happen to kill 2 more, and I'm left with a champion. I think she won combat, they were steadfast, and they passed. The very frenzied up Rat Ogres hit me from behind, and they fluffed their attacks. I don't think the Rat Ogres killed anybody. His Whipmaster or whatever kills 2 of my guys. So, yep, and I do a wound back. And because I have 1 rank to his 0, I pass. I really feel like that if you hit a unit in the rear, You should not get steadfast. I mean, it's already hard enough to outmaneuver somebody like that. Being attacked with mirror should be way more impacting. And then we go to the main event. We got my executioners. I have, I think, 2 ranks of 7 attacking the abomination, and then I have the back rank attacking the bell, and what I'm going to refer to as the Skaven Guard because I do not remember their names. I got a couple things going for me. The executioners have the banner that allows them to always strike first, which lets them attack at initiative order, which is 5, which means they're going to go at the same time as the Skaven Guard and before the abomination. I'm not entirely confident I'm going to kill the abomination. The abomination's toughness 6. I don't have any spells on them to reduce this toughness, and so I mean, I'm going to hit a lot. It just now then goes down to how many 4 pluses can I get to wound it. So I don't know. So let's find out. And it turns out I'm a big fat liar because I had forgotten that when he attacked me and I killed the rat ogres and then I overran, well, that was in my turn when I was resolving that combat. And so before I resolved the combat, I cast the Scaly Skin uh, magic spell onto my unit so I wouldn't lose, hopefully, any guys to stupid slaves. Um, so when I overran into this combat, I had a 3+ armor save, which is really crucial because when the Skaven Guard were attacking my executioners, they ended up only killing 2 because of the improved armor save. So then, so first my witch goes. She gets 2 poison attacks with a flaming banner, and then she rolls a 6 to wound with her one of her other attacks. So I already have half the wounds gone on that abomination before my executioners even attack. So then my executioners and the Skaven Guard strike at the same time. Like I said already, they do 2 wounds, and then I butcher a lot of the unit. I mean, strength 6, great weapons with hatred is nothing to sneeze at, and so yeah. So then my executioners hit the abomination. I mean, with 14 attacks, I think it ends up being, or 13 maybe. I wipe out the abomination before it strikes, and since it's flaming, he's not coming back. And then I had one guy that was obligated to hit the bell, and he got lucky and wounded it. So yeah, so my opponent was caught really off guard, and I was too actually, because I mean when you have 2 different armies have their best units hit each other, and one of those units hits the other in the rear, you would think that maybe you know that would probably spell the doom of one of the units, the one that got hit in the rear, of course. But I don't know. I did a lot of wounds. I killed a bunch of the Skaven guys with my 10 attacks back, and then I killed the Abomination, which put me ahead in wounds, especially with the spell that gave me a 3+ armor save. So yeah, so I win, I reform, and I'm ready now to hopefully put the pressure on. And here's a picture of the board besides that one combat and what it looks like on the other side. So I start my turn by declaring a charge with my spearmen that were in the poison forest that recently got barbecued. Um, I lose quite a few guys to the poison, dangerous terrain checks, and I have to take a morale check and pass. Alright, so moving to magic phase, I feel like I'm about to secure the left flank, but before I can confidently secure it, I have to get rid of the doom wheel and the flamethrower. That's devastating, surprisingly devastating. So I turn my Lord's unit to face the doom wheel, and I'm getting prepared to cast the Searing Doom at it. Before I do that, I cast my Asthma, and then I miscast. I miscast, and I get everybody takes a strength 6 hit. And I believe both my wizards have already taken that result from a previous spell. And so I'm like, okay, great. I'm gonna lose my shadow. So my opponent goes to roll, and he rolls a 1, and then he rolls another 1, and I go, wow, that is just lucky. I mean, sometimes Warhammer is just like that. So a lot of times there's a lot of luck involved. But so yeah. And then on the flip side, after casting the miasma on a miscast, I get a -1 as my result for all its stats, which, I mean, it's helpful. But I mean, when you're going to miscast, you at least want the best result you can get. I have a little bit more dice left over, and I use it, and I cast Searing Doom. And as you can see here, I kill the doom wheel. I'm pretty much out of shooting. So here we go into combat. Rat ogres versus my crossbowman first. And the rat ogres, they're just slow and stupid, apparently, because you could only kill. I don't. I still. Don't, I think he fluffed again. I think it was his little beast herder guy that killed my two guys. Stubborn and stick. My witch elf dies in an ecstasy of blood-filled frenzy. I think she killed like maybe two more and then got poked. In the end of combat, this is a picture of the Skaven's next turn in movement. You can see him starting to move his guys to the side to help out the combat, and he declares a charge with his Skaven clan rats at the crosswomen who are holding up those ogres. But that combat right before he goes with his charges has my spearmen and my executioners finish off. They finish off the last of the Skaven guard, and I think I do one wound to the wizard, and I fail to wound the bell tower. So it's unbreakable. So I move up, and hopefully I can finish it off. The flamethrower caused me some more headaches again. He moves over to the side a little bit, flames my unit, kills half of them. That thing is devastating. He goes to cast the 13th again, fails, doesn't cast anymore. We go into combat, and my spearman stabbed him to death. So he's just down to the bell tower, which I do a couple wounds to. His rat ogres, with the help of the clan rats, kill my crossbowman down to one man. He flees, they don't catch, and they overrun as so. In my turn, I come to terms that I'm just never going to catch the flame guy. He's just going to keep on moving to side and flame, side and flame. So I turn to face the BSB's unit, cast Final Transmutation, get lucky, roll that 6, kill the guy, kill those guys too. But the cost is that everyone dies except for my champion. I don't know if that's a fair deal. Actually, I know for a fact that's not a fair deal because my wizard is like 300 points, and I'm sure that BSB is dirt cheap. But on a more positive note, I was able to cast my Asthma on the bell, knock it down to toughness 3, and now I have some firewood for Nagaroth. So I am very bad at keeping track of turns, so I usually just tell my opponent when I remember, go, hey, I'm really bad at keeping turns, you keep track of turns. And so we were trying to recap the turns. We thought this was turn 6, but this is actually turn 5 now that I'm going through my pictures. So my opponent was like, okay, he thinks that it's either a close win for him or a tie, and I tend to agree because I don't know what the points for rats are, so that's what we're thinking. So what he wants to do is he's trying to move all his units out of the way so they can't be charged. So I can't really do anything in my turn. So he moves his little flamethrower off screen in the woods so I can't see it. And then he moves his units back where he can and to the side where he can. And his plans are to try to shoot my level 2's unit down to where they die or flee off the board. And so I understand what my opponent's trying to do, but now that I'm looking at the picture, I should be able to make that charge where the pink rats are. Because I think my opponent was thinking I'd have to pivot on the spot and then charge straight at them. But I can just go straight forward and then make my pivot at next. Like I don't have to take the pivot first, I just have to take one pivot. So in hindsight, it looks like I could have made that charge. I mean, he could have always fleed, but he wasn't necessarily keeping me from even making a charge. I could have still tried. At least, I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Or maybe, I don't know. Anyways, I know what my opponent was trying to do, so I just was like, okay. So he moves around. He moves his flamethrower into the woods, and then he shoots and flames a ton of my guys. They're in half again. And then he moves his ninja guys down to the corner and throws some ninja stars at my lone champion you saw a couple frames back to get the points for it. So there's the game. It was a lot of fun. I'm really glad to be back into fantasy after a couple months of not playing, and I'm really happy that there seems to be a consistent group of players out here in Hawaii. I was really worried about it, and I look forward to the future playing. As far as the win loss draw is concerned, I definitely didn't win this game. It was really close. It came down really to whether the weapons team does or doesn't preserve the points for the parent unit that it's bought with. If it is the case, if it's not like if it's like Empire, where the attachments which are bought with the parent units are bought with the units but are considered separate units for the purposes of deployment and victory points, or is it just it's just victory points? Then then it was a draw because we were like within 50 points of each other. But if that flamethrower guy that just wrecked my face throughout this game really preserves all the points for those Skaven guard, then I definitely lost because those Skaven guard I'm sure were probably somewhere between the high 200s to the the mid 300s, if not more. I don't know. So so if they preserve the points, then yeah, definite loss. But if there if there if there's been some sort of clarification or something that they um, are separate units when calculating victory points, then it was definitely a draw. You know, you know, you know, I want it to be a draw. I mean, that was a pretty violent battle, and we took some good casualties. But it is what it is. As far as stats concerned, I engaged left like I wanted to, but it didn't protect me from the shooting and the magic. The shooting was devastating, especially in the flames. And the magic, you're not going to avoid magic unless your opponent's just super unlucky. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and my opponent played a good game, and yeah, I look forward to some more games. Thank you. Bye.